All right, so we're diving into something pretty big today.
Yeah.
It's something I think all of us have thought about at one point or another.
hmm
How do we actually change our lives? And I'm not
Oh,
talking about like reorganizing a closet,
right.
but real lasting change,
Right.
you know? And you guys sent in a bunch of articles and videos.
Yeah. It is a very diverse collection.
And wow, we've got a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
So we've got a blog post from Better Up
hmm
about kind of hitting the reset button in life.
Yeah. About starting over.
Then there's this WikiHow article, which is very much like a step-by-step how to...
Yeah. Almost like a manual,
Look,
a
yeah.
Fitbit manual.
Okay. And then to round things out, 2 YouTube videos.
Yeah.
One from Incognito CEO
Yeah.
about building those productive habits,
Right.
and then one from Austin Schrock
Yeah.
that's going to have us thinking about...
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
This one's on mortality,
Oh, okay.
thinking about the legacy we want to leave.
Okay, we're going deep today.
Yeah.
But it makes sense, you know. Sometimes you need that big picture to get motivated for the smaller things.
Absolutely.
So where do we even begin with all this? I mean, these are very different sources.
They are, but it's fascinating
Yeah.
because all four of them emphasize self-reflection
Okay.
as like the very first step.
So before you even do anything,
Right.
you got to look inward.
You got to reflect.
Okay.
And you know, the Better Up article has this line that I just loved.
Okay.
It says, life comes in seasons.
Okay.
And these transitions kind of prompt us to reevaluate.
Yeah, it's like nature itself is telling us to hit pause
Yeah.
for a sec,
hmm
to reassess, you know, like where we're headed next.
It's like that feeling when a chapter ends, you know,
Oh, yeah.
when you finish a project at work, a relationship ends.
Oh, I totally get that.
Or even like kids go back to school.
Yep.
It's that like,
Yeah.
okay, what's next?
Yeah.
But the WikiHow article takes that feeling a step further.
It recommends, like, you find a quiet space
Yeah.
and spend at least 30 minutes reflecting,
I love that.
which is something that I don't think a lot of people do.
I think it's so important, though.
Yeah.
Those 30 minutes can make all the difference because during that time, you're not just figuring out what you want to change.
Mm-hmm.
You're figuring out the why.
Oh. Whoa.
Why do you want to change?
So it's not just like, I want to lose 10 pounds.
Right. It's more intentional.
It's like, what's driving that?
Exactly.
Oh.
And during that time, you can also think about your values,
Okay.
which are so crucial to this whole process.
So values, like, what do they really mean?
Values are like your internal compass.
Oh.
They guide your choices,
Oh.
and they make sure the changes you make are actually aligned with who you are.
Okay, so like, let's say someone's a total workaholic,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, you know what, I really want to spend more time with my family.
Right?
Is that like a values thing?
Yeah, absolutely. It could be driven by the value of connection or belonging, or
Yeah.
even just the value of family,
I get it.
you know? So once you have that clarity about your values,
Okay.
then you're ready to start thinking about what you want to change.
Okay.
And that brings us to goal setting.
Right, so we reflect,
Yeah.
and then,
Your set goals.
and both Better Up and WikiHow,
They both talk about goals.
they do,
A lot.
but they have different approaches, right?
Slightly.
Yeah, I remember WikiHow was all about SMART goals.
Oh, yes. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really helpful framework.
It is.
Have you ever used it?
I've never, like, fully committed to it.
Well, maybe this is your chance.
All right, let's do it.
Think about a goal you've been wanting to achieve,
Right.
like writing a novel, learning a new language,
Mhm.
or even just being more present with your kids.
Okay.
So instead of saying, I want to write more.
Right, which is like a very vague, SMART goal would be, I will write for 1 hour every morning before work, 3 days a week for the next 3 months, and aim to have a completed first draft by the end of that period.
Right.
Oh, wow.
See how that transforms a vague desire into a concrete plan?
That is completely different.
Yeah,
It's not just floating around anymore.
exactly.
I love that.
And Better Up actually had a cool take on this too.
Okay.
They called them SAGs,
SAGs.
small achievable goals.
Oh, okay.
So instead of tackling this huge goal,
Yeah.
you break it down into these bite-sized pieces.
Okay.
Because you're not looking for overnight transformation here.
Right. Change happens gradually.
It does.
This makes me think about all the times I've tried to, like, live a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I always tried to do the big overhaul.
Oh, yeah.
Like, change my diet completely, join a gym,
Mhm.
the whole 9 yards, and I burn out after a week.
Yeah, that's why SAGs can be so helpful.
Right. So instead of, like, this month, I'm just going to make sure I have a salad at least 3 times a week for lunch.
Mm. See, that's doable.
It is. It's small. It's a step in the right direction.
That's the key.
Okay. And that brings us to something else that both sources talk about.
Yeah.
the obstacles.
Yeah, because obstacles are inevitable.
Right. It's not always going to be easy.
It's not.
The WikiHow article is particularly good at that.
Yeah, I loved that.
It's almost like they're saying, okay, you want to change your life? Great.
Right?
But let's be real. Stuff is going to come up.
It is.
So let's figure out what to do about it now.
Brainstorm some solutions.
Yeah.
Before you even get started.
I love that because so often those obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
they come from us.
Our own behavior.
Yeah.
That's.
It's like if I'm trying to lose weight,
Yeah.
but every time I get stressed,
Mm-hmm.
I eat donuts.
Exactly.
Well, guess what?
Stress is a trigger
Yeah, okay.
you need to watch out for.
And it's not just about like willpower.
No.
It's about recognizing those patterns.
It is
Yeah.
having a plan.
Yeah. How do I deal with that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So both sources emphasize
Mhm.
replacing those negative behaviors
Yeah.
with positive ones that are actually aligned with your goals.
Okay.
And there's this quote from the WikiHow article.
Okay.
You don't have to dislike something to stop doing it.
Okay.
You only have to want something else more.
Oh, that's good.
So sometimes it's not about hating the bad habit.
Yeah.
It's about like loving that new goal.
Right. And wanting it more.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've reflected.
Yeah.
We've thought about our values.
Mhm.
We've set goals.
Got a plan.
But with all that planning,
Mm,
you have to actually do something.
that's right. You got to take action.
And that's where we're headed next.
It is.
Because all four of our sources.
I know, with all their different perspectives,
Yeah.
they ultimately agree on one thing.
You got to do it.
You got to take action.
And that's what we're going to talk about when we get back.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, deep divers.
So before the break, we were talking about taking action.
We were.
But sometimes that need for change, it starts as kind of a subtle feeling, right?
Yeah, like a whisper
Yeah.
in your soul.
I totally get that. It's like you're going through the motions,
Mhm.
but something feels off.
Yeah,
Like you're living someone else's life.
right. Or a past version of yourself is
Yeah.
in control.
So what are some of the signs? Like, how do we know?
Well, the Better Up article talked about feeling restless or uninspired, like
Yeah.
you've hit a plateau. Or maybe you're questioning your choices,
Okay.
feeling a disconnect
Oh, a disconnect.
between where you are and where you want to be.
Yeah, it's like your values and your actions are speaking different languages.
Exactly. And sometimes that misalignment shows up in our goals.
Oh, interesting.
We set goals that once reflected our aspirations,
Yeah.
but now they feel stagnant.
It's like those goals are stuck in a time capsule
Yeah.
from a previous.
They are. So what do you do when you realize you need a change,
Right.
but taking action feels really daunting?
Yeah, it can be scary.
It can. So what do we do?
Well, Better Up suggests tapping into that surge of courage
Oh.
that often comes when you realize something needs to shift. It takes courage to acknowledge things aren't working
Yeah,
and commit to doing something different.
it does.
And remember,
Yeah,
growth rarely happens within our comfort zones.
so true. That courage often leads to that urge to take action.
Absolutely.
It might be a whisper at first,
Yeah,
but it can build into a roar.
it can't.
That's hard to ignore.
Right, you might feel compelled to quit that job you hate,
Oh, yeah.
finally pursue that creative project,
Okay.
or even relocate.
Wow, big changes.
But even positive change can be challenging to navigate alone.
Right, which is why it's so important to have a support system.
Yes, both Better Up and WikiHow talked about that.
They did.
Go
So it's like having a cheering section.
Your friends, family, maybe even a coach.
Yeah.
They can make a huge difference.
It can.
They can celebrate those wins with you
Mm-hmm.
and help you through those tough times.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of support systems,
Yeah.
remember how we were talking about values?
Yes.
Well, Better Up had some specific advice.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, about how to actually weave those values
Okay.
into the process of change.
So it's not enough to just identify them.
Right.
You got to live them.
You got to live them.
I love that.
So they suggest starting by letting go
Oh, okay.
of anything that no longer serves you.
So like negative thoughts.
Yeah. Or limiting beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
or even those bad habits.
Yeah, it's like clearing out the clutter
Okay.
to make space for something new.
I like that.
Remember that example of the workaholic?
Yeah.
To really value family time, they might need to set boundaries at work,
Okay.
prioritize time with their loved ones,
Okay.
or even consider a career shift.
Right. Something that allows for more balance.
Exactly.
There's this one line from the Better Up article that I absolutely love.
Oh, tell me.
If it scares you, you're probably growing.
That's a good one.
It is. It's a good reminder that growth can be uncomfortable.
It can be.
But it's often in those uncomfortable moments that we really discover our strength
It's so true.
and
yeah.
resilience.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we're making all these changes,
Yeah.
it's important to check in with ourselves.
Regularly.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, how am I feeling?
Mm.
Are my actions aligned with my values? Am
Right.
I honoring my needs?
That's like taking your emotional temperature.
It is, to make sure you're on track.
I love that.
And speaking of checking in,
Yeah.
remember BetterUp had all those thought-provoking questions
Oh, yeah.
designed to help you like really dig deep
Yeah.
when you're considering a big life change.
Do any of those stand out to you?
Oh yeah, a bunch of them.
Yeah.
One that really got me thinking was,
Yeah.
how would you describe your mental fitness? Is it supporting or hindering your quality of life?
Oh.
It's a good reminder that mental well-being
Yeah.
is the foundation for everything else.
It's so true.
Yeah.
You can't build a good life
You can't.
if you're constantly battling.
If you're struggling.
Yeah. Internal struggles.
Exactly.
What else?
Another one was, when you think about your overall well-being,
Mm-hmm.
what are you proud of? And what do you want to change?
Oh, that's good.
It's like taking inventory,
Yeah.
recognizing your strengths and your weaknesses.
Okay.
And then there were a few that really challenged me to step outside my comfort zone.
Oh, like what?
Like, when's the last time you were truly outside of your comfort zone?
Like a-
And what would happen if you continued to live your life exactly as it is right now?
oh.
You know,
Yeah, that one makes you think.
it does.
Because it's so easy to stay stuck
It is.
in routines that aren't serving us anymore.
Right.
And sometimes we need that little nudge
We just-
to realize that staying the same
Yeah.
can be just as risky as changing.
Or even riskier.
Wow.
Yeah. And to help you visualize those possibilities, they get really specific with the questions.
Okay.
What would happen if you stayed in your current job?
Okay.
What would happen if you chose to switch careers or even quit your job?
Oh, I like how they flip it around
They do.
and ask what happens if you don't change.
Exactly. It forces you to confront
Mm.
the potential consequences of staying stuck.
Why?
And then to remind you of your agency,
Okay.
they ask, what's within your locus of control?
Well-
What can you actually influence or change?
Right, because sometimes we feel helpless
Did you?
about things we can't control.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready for a real gut check?
Hit me.
What would you do if you only had 1 year left to live?
Wow.
It makes you think, right?
It does.
About what really matters.
Yeah, it forces you to confront your priorities.
Yeah.
Consider what truly matters.
And they also ask,
Mhm.
are you a priority in your own life?
Oh, if not, why not?
That's a good one.
Because sometimes we forget about ourselves
We do.
in the midst of everything else.
We do.
Okay, so we've talked about values, support systems, courage, facing our fears.
Mhm.
But how do we actually translate all of this into lasting change?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
And this is where I think Incognito CEO's insights
Okay.
about building positive habits,
Yeah.
they become so valuable.
Right. Remember his whole thing about habits
Mm-hmm.
becoming as ingrained in our routines as brushing our teeth?
I loved that analogy.
He made such a good point about those instant gratification activities.
Like scrolling through social media.
Yeah. Or binge watching shows.
You know, they feel good in the moment,
They do.
but they often leave us feeling empty.
It's like a sugar rush.
It is.
Quick burst of pleasure.
Yeah.
And then you crash.
Exactly.
And then on the flip side, those delayed gratification habits.
Like exercise.
Yeah, or meditation.
On focused work, they might be challenging at first.
It can be.
But
they pay off in the long run.
right, they're like an investment
They are.
in your future self.
I love that.
And then he had that cheat code.
Oh, yeah, the 21-day rule.
Yeah, for developing these habits.
It's amazing how such a simple principle can have such
Yeah.
a big impact,
It's all about making those new habits as easy as possible.
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, so instead of trying to meditate for an hour,
Right.
just start with like 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Instead of that crazy workout,
Yeah.
do 30 push-ups.
There you go.
Just tiny little steps.
So tiny, you can't say no.
Exactly.
And then as you get used to them,
Yeah.
you can gradually increase the time and intensity.
Okay, and we can't forget about our environment, right?
Oh, that's another key piece.
And the people we surround ourselves with.
Yes.
Incognito CEO talked about that too, right?
He did. He called them influences.
Okay.
And really emphasized surrounding yourself with positive influences and seeking out knowledge that inspires you.
So it's like that saying,
Hmm.
you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right. But in today's digital age,
It's not just the people we physically see,
It's the content we consume.
the books we read,
Yes.
podcasts, social media.
It all shapes our thoughts and beliefs.
So if you want to change your life,
Mm-hmm.
start by changing your input.
Exactly.
Fill your feed with things that inspire you,
Yes.
motivate you.
Seek out mentors,
Okay?
role models, thought leaders.
People who are already living
Yeah.
the life you want to live.
Exactly.
And don't underestimate the power of stories,
Oh, stories are so powerful.
because hearing how other people have overcome challenges,
Yeah.
it can be really motivating.
It reminds us that change is possible.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, but let's be real. Even with the best habits,
Mm-hmm.
the most positive influences,
Yeah.
and a clear vision for the future,
Sometimes
we hit a wall.
we hit a wall.
We lose motivation.
We do.
And that's when we need to turn our attention.
To our mental well-being.
And Incognito CEO had some great advice on this too.
He did.
Yeah.
He emphasized happiness,
Okay.
reminding us that when we feel good,
Yeah.
we perform better.
Makes it. It's hard to reach your goals
Yeah.
when you're feeling down.
It is.
So how do we cultivate more happiness?
Well, he shared one really simple exercise,
Okay.
gratitude journaling,
Oh, yeah. Just writing down things you're grateful for.
every day.
It can have a big impact.
It can.
It's like training your brain to focus on the good,
Yeah, to appreciate the abundance.
even when things are tough.
Exactly.
And even if it feels a little silly at first.
The key is to just keep doing it.
Right. The more you practice gratitude.
The more natural it becomes,
Yeah.
and the more you appreciate the good,
Mm-hmm.
the happier you'll feel.
Okay. And when you're happy,
Yeah,
you're more likely to take action,
absolutely.
pursue those goals.
And embrace that change. But there's one more piece to this puzzle.
Okay, what is it?
Purpose.
Oh, purpose.
It's not just about setting goals or achieving things. It's about something deeper.
Okay.
Asking yourself, what is your mission in life?
Whoa.
What were you put on this earth to do?
Those are some big questions.
They are.
And it's okay
It is.
if you don't have all the answers right away.
Yeah, it's a process.
Okay.
But to get started, Incognito CEO suggests asking yourself this.
Okay.
How big would you dream if you knew that all your dreams would come true?
That's a good one.
It is, right?
Yeah, it makes you think big.
It does.
So as we reflect on this idea of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to remember that it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
this grand world-changing thing.
Yeah.
It could be something simple,
Absolutely.
like being a good parent,
Yeah.
a supportive friend,
Or dedicated artist.
right? It's about what lights you up,
It is.
what gives your life meaning.
It's about finding something
Yeah.
that resonates with your values,
Yeah.
inspires you to take action.
But even when we have that sense of purpose,
It can still be challenging.
to actually do it.
Yeah, to take action.
Which brings us full circle
It does.
to Incognito CEO's fifth and final step,
Taking action.
because you can watch all the videos,
Read all the books.
listen to all the podcasts.
But if you don't actually do anything,
Nothing changes.
you've got to put those insights into practice.
Even if it's uncomfortable,
Yeah?
even if it's scary,
Remember, change rarely happens.
in our comfort zones.
Exact.
It's about taking those small steps,
Yes.
building those positive habits,
Mm-hmm.
and consistently moving towards the life we want.
Yes. And don't let perfectionism hold you back.
Right. It's about progress.
Progress, not perfection.
So celebrate those small wins.
Yes.
Learn from those setbacks.
And keep moving forward.
Okay, so we've talked about values,
We have.
goals, habits, mindset, purpose. But we're not done yet.
Not yet.
Remember that Austin Schrock video?
Oh, the eulogy one.
Yes. It's a powerful exercise.
It is.
And I think it's the perfect way to bring all these insights together
It is.
and create a roadmap for lasting change.
So get ready to do some deep thinking, deep divers
Yeah.
as we explore the power of legacy
Okay.
and how it can fuel our journey of transformation.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm still thinking about that eulogy exercise.
Yeah, Austin Schrock's video, right?
Yes. It's a pretty powerful concept, you know.
It is. Imagining looking back on your life
Mm-hmm.
from the perspective of, well, the future.
It's like stepping outside of time for a minute
Yeah.
and asking yourself,
Like, did I actually live a life that reflects my values?
right, and did I make a difference? Did I leave things better than I found them?
Exactly. And it's interesting because thinking about your eulogy like that,
Yeah.
it can actually inspire action,
Oh, interesting.
like in the present.
Okay.
Because once you have a sense of the story you want to tell,
Mm.
you can start making choices that actually shape that story.
It's like you become the author of your own life.
You do.
Okay, I'm getting chills right now. It's like we've come full circle.
I know, right?
We started with self-reflection and values. Then we talked about goals and habits and mindset.
And now we're thinking about legacy.
It's like all these pieces are coming together
They are.
to help us live a more meaningful life.
Exactly. It's a reminder that change isn't just about achieving things.
Right. It's not just about checking things off a to-do list.
It's about aligning your actions with your values
Okay.
and striving to make a positive impact.
But change is a journey, not a destination. Right.
Absolutely. There will be ups and downs,
Yeah, sure.
twists and turns, moments of clarity and doubt.
So we just got to keep moving forward
Yeah, even if it's just one small step at a time.
and celebrate those wins along the way.
Yes, acknowledge your effort, reward yourself.
And most
Do
importantly,
that.
give yourself permission to mess up sometimes.
Because remember, setbacks are not failures.
They're not
They're opportunities to learn and grow.
so true. So be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Embrace the journey.
And never stop striving to be the best version of you.
All right, deep divers. That's all the time we have for today.
But keep exploring these ideas.
Yeah, reflect on your values, set those goals, build those positive habits.
And never underestimate your power to change.
Remember, if you could fast forward to the end of your story,
Yeah.
what would you want that eulogy to say?
What legacy will you leave behind?
Keep those questions in mind as you continue on your journey.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.